doing a little stunt.
Secretary
right
Hegseth,
now.
what I'm really concerned about is you purport to have unfaltering loyalty to President Trump, and yet you are continuously
Oh,
going
you care a lot
I
about
reclaim my
President Trump,
time.
don't you?
You are
This
going
is a
behind his
cute waste
back
of your 5
and
minutes.
appointing
A
people.
huge,
I reclaim
cute
my time.
waste of your 5 minutes that
I
led
reclaim
nowhere.
my time.
Jason Crow just cornered Pete Hegseth in Congress. And Pete couldn't answer the simplest questions. Who is this mystery lawyer, sitting in Pentagon meetings, advising the Secretary of Defense, with no vetting, no Senate confirmation, and clients nobody knows about? This is the story they don't want you to understand. Let's break it down.
Mr. Crow.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I want to go in a little bit different direction. Timothy Parlatore served as your private attorney, correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Parlatore also served as private attorney for President Trump's campaign, correct?
I'm not privy to every professional position that he's held.
Well, I'll help you out. He did. And you appointed Mr. Parlatore as your senior advisor, correct?
He does reserve duty on behalf of the Navy.
His title is senior
work.
as an advisor. You gave him that title, correct?
And I would count him as very much an advisor of mine.
Yep, he travels with you, correct?
Tim Parlatore has been a long-term friend. He's a great patriot.
He travels
has
with you.
traveled
That's not what
me.
I
He
asked. I
serves the
reclaim my
country,
time.
and
He
he's an
travels
excellent
with you,
military
doesn't he?
lawyer.
He travels with you, doesn't he? Correct? There's public Instagram that shows this. Just say yes.
Yes, of course.
Okay. He sits in meetings with you and advises you, doesn't he?
He sits in some meetings on
Yeah,
occasion.
well, he maintains a desk in an office in the Pentagon, does he not?
I'd have to check.
You don't know?
It's a big Pentagon.
You directly commissioned Mr. Parlatore in the Naval Reserve as a Navy commander in March 2025, did you not?
I was very proud to do so.
And when you did, because he's a Navy Reserve officer, he didn't have to go through the PPO process, the White House Presidential Personnel Office, right? He wasn't vetted by White House PPO.
Uniformed service members don't get vetted by.
The answer is yes. He didn't have to be vetted by White House PPO. He didn't go through the Senate confirmation process either, did he? The answer is no.
I don't know what you're getting to, but Tim is a fantastic.
I'll tell you what I'm
American.
getting to. The
He does
answer is
great
no,
work.
right?
He does great work.
Okay. He didn't maintain a security clearance when you appointed him as special advisor. Is that right?
I'd have to check.
You don't know?
I mean, anybody that has access to sensitive material is going to have the appropriate clearance.
Okay, so when you appointed him as special advisor, he had a security clearance?
I don't. You're trying to piece together a timeline.
No, I'm
that
asking
I
a simple
can't give you
question.
exact
One of your
dates for.
special, most sensitive advisors, did he have a security
No,
clearance?
you're
when you-
playing a gotcha game like you do on TV
I'm
and
asking
everywhere else.
questions.
You're trying to thread together details that
Clearly
are
you're
connected about
concerned.
something else. and-
Clearly you're concerned about my line of questioning, aren't you, Mr. Secretary? Because you know where it's going, don't you? I think you do. So does Mr. Parlatore represent foreign governments? He has a private law practice, does he not?
From what I understand of his law practice, he does a lot of great work for service members in the military and other.
He maintains a private law practice. Does he represent foreign governments or foreign persons in that private law practice?
I don't know.
You don't know. Somebody who's sitting in your meetings, a special advisor, you don't know. Does he represent any senior officers who are currently under consideration for promotion by you or your office?
The only person that makes determinations about senior officers is me.
Answer the question. Does he represent senior officers who are under consideration for promotion by you?
No, I'm the one that makes decisions about choosing.
Does he
and
represent them,
finding
Mr.
senior
Secretary? Does he
officers. He
represent
doesn't
them?
represent anyone. He's a legal advisor and always has
But
been.
he has clients, does he not?
He's a legal advisor to me on reserve duty, and he always has been, and he does a fantastic
Is it
job.
true that
You're-
Mr.
you're playing a
Parlatore was
losing hand,
removed?
whatever you're
I
trying to
reclaim my
play here.
time. Is it true that Mr. Parlatore was removed from an investigation by the White House last year?
I don't know what you're referring to, but not that I'm aware of.
You're not aware of it. Was it true that you were also removed from that same investigation? The answer is yes.
No, not that I'm aware of.
You're not aware of it. That's interesting. Well, is it true that Mr. Parlatore disparaged President Trump?
I don't know what you're referring to, but no.
Is it true that Mr. Parlatore was accused by President Trump and his lawyers of lying?
What you're accused of is a cute line of questioning that's going nowhere.
Well, it's going somewhere, which is why you're not answering the question. Was it true that he was accused of lying by the president's legal team?
I'm not familiar to, you'd have to give me the context.
Well, it's right
of that
here.
article,
You want to look at
and
the statement from President
anybody
Trump's
could blow
legal
up
team?
a quote and claim it says something, and that's what you're doing in a little stunt.
Secretary
right
Hegseth,
now.
what I'm really concerned about is you purport to have unfaltering loyalty to President Trump, and yet you are continuously going.
You care a lot
I
about
reclaim my
President Trump,
time.
don't you?
You are
This
going
is a
behind
cute
his
waste
back
of your 5
and
minutes.
appointing
A
people.
huge,
I reclaim
cute
my time.
waste of your 5 minutes that
I
led
reclaim
nowhere.
my time. You are
not pass
repeatedly
go,
going
do not
behind the
collect
president's
Gentleman
back.
from Colorado's
Failed.
time. Go ahead, Mr. Crow.
You are repeatedly going behind President Trump's back, appointing people who he is accused of lying, who the White House is
Gentleman's
accused of
time's
lying.
expired. The
And you
chair
are
now
not being
recognizes
honest
the
with
gentlelady
President
from
Trump.
South Carolina, Ms. Mace.
Okay, let's start from the very beginning, because this exchange is one of the most important things you'll see come out of Washington this year, and most people scrolled right past it. Who is Timothy Parlatore? Timothy Parlatore is a lawyer, a private attorney. He represented Pete Hegseth personally. He also represented Donald Trump's campaign. So right away you have one person connected to two of the most powerful figures in American politics. That alone is worth paying attention to. But here's where it gets interesting. When Pete Hegseth became Secretary of Defense, he brought Parlatore with him. He gave him the title of Senior Advisor. Think about what that means. Senior Advisor to the Secretary of Defense. That is not a small job. That is one of the most sensitive positions in the entire United States government. Now here's what Jason Crow wanted to know. Did Parlatore go through the normal vetting process? The White House Presidential Personnel Office, the PPO, exists for one reason: to make sure the people getting powerful jobs are actually qualified, trustworthy, and don't have conflicts of interest. Every civilian appointee goes through it. But Parlatore didn't. Why? Because Hegseth commissioned him as a Naval Reserve officer in March 2025. And here's the loophole. Uniformed service members don't get vetted by the PPO. So by giving Parlatore a military commission, Hegseth put him in a position where the normal checks and balances simply didn't apply. No PPO vetting, no Senate confirmation, no standard oversight. And then Crow asked about the security clearance. Did Parlatore have one when he was appointed? Hegseth said, "I'd have to check." He'd have to check. This is the man sitting in your meetings, traveling with you, advising you on some of the most classified decisions in the United States military. And you'd have to check whether he had the clearance to be there. That answer alone should make every American pay attention. Now let's talk about what Parlatore does on the side. He has a private law practice. That's not unusual. Lawyers do this all the time. But here's the question Crow kept pushing on. Does Parlatore represent foreign governments? Does he represent foreign persons? Hegseth said, "I don't know." Does Parlatore represent senior military officers who are under consideration for promotion? Hegseth said, "I'm the one who makes those decisions." But that wasn't the question. The question was, does your personal advisor, who sits in your meetings, who travels with you, who has access to what's happening inside the Pentagon, does he also represent the people whose careers are being decided inside that same Pentagon? Because if the answer is yes, that is a textbook conflict of interest. A lawyer cannot advise the decision maker and represent the people being decided on at the same time. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's just basic legal ethics. And Hegseth never gave a straight answer. Then Crow brought up something even bigger. Was Parlatore removed from a White House investigation? Hegseth said he wasn't aware of it. Was Hegseth himself removed from that same investigation? Hegseth said no, not that he's aware of. But here's the thing. Crow said yes. He said the answer is yes. And instead of pushing back with facts, Hegseth pushed back with frustration. He called it a gotcha game. He called it a stunt. He said Crow was trying to thread together details. But when someone asks you a yes or no question, and you respond by attacking the person asking, that's not a defense. That's a deflection. Then Crow went further. Did Parlatore disparage President Trump? Hegseth said no, he wasn't aware of it. Was Parlatore accused by Trump's own legal team of lying? Hegseth said he wasn't familiar with it. And this is where the whole thing becomes extraordinary. Because Pete Hegseth presents himself as someone with total loyalty to Donald Trump. That's his brand. That's his identity. That's how he got the job. But the man he handpicked, the man he commissioned, the man he calls a great patriot and a long-term friend, was reportedly accused of lying by the president's own lawyers. And Hegseth either doesn't know or doesn't want to say. Let's zoom out for a second. Because it's easy to get lost in the names and the details, So let's make this simple. Imagine you hired a contractor to work on your house. You gave them a key. You let them in every day. You had them in every room. But you didn't check their references. You didn't verify their license. You didn't know if they worked for your neighbors. You didn't know if they had a record. And when someone asked you basic questions about this person, you said, "I'd have to check." That's what happened here. Except it's not a house. It's the Pentagon. And we're not talking about a contractor. We're talking about someone with access to military decisions, senior officer promotions, and some of the most sensitive national security information in the world. What makes this even more significant is how Hegseth responded throughout. He didn't calmly correct the record. He didn't provide facts to counter the questions. He called it a gotcha game. He said Crow was going nowhere. He said Crow does this on TV too. But here's the thing about that kind of response. When someone deflects instead of answers, when someone attacks the questioner instead of the question, it usually means the question hit something real. Because if the answers were simple and clean, you just give the simple and clean answers. You don't get defensive about questions that don't actually threaten you. And then there's the bigger picture. This isn't just about one lawyer. This is about a pattern. When you appoint people who bypass normal vetting, who avoid Senate confirmation, who have unclear outside clients, who have been accused of things by the very people you claim to serve, you create gaps in accountability. Gaps that can be used, intentionally or not, to do things that would never survive a normal oversight process. That's not a partisan point. That's not a liberal or conservative argument. That is how corruption works, regardless of which party is in power. Accountability processes exist because human beings make self-interested decisions. All of us. The vetting system, the confirmation process, the security clearance reviews, these aren't just bureaucratic boxes to check. They are the safeguards that keep personal loyalty from replacing national loyalty. And Jason Crow knew exactly what he was doing. He didn't come in swinging wildly. He came in with a very specific sequence of questions, each one building on the last. Did Parlatore serve as your personal lawyer? Yes. Did he serve Trump's campaign? Yes. Did you appoint him senior advisor? Yes. Did he bypass PPO vetting? Yes. Did he bypass Senate confirmation? Yes. Did he have a clearance? Unknown. Does he represent foreign governments? Unknown. Does he represent officers you're promoting? Unclear. Was he removed from a White House investigation? Unknown. Were you removed too? Denied but asserted. Did he disparage Trump? Unknown. Did Trump's lawyers accuse him of lying? Unknown. That's not a gotcha. That's a documented, methodical, public record of a senior government official who cannot answer basic questions about a man he calls his closest advisor. Here's the bottom line. The American people deserve to know who is sitting in the Pentagon's most important meetings. They deserve to know whether those people have conflicts of interest. They deserve to know whether the people advising the Secretary of Defense are loyal to the United States or loyal to their private clients. These are not radical demands. These are the minimum standards we hold for anyone in public trust. And right now, those questions don't have answers. That exchange between Jason Crow and Pete Hegseth lasted just a few minutes. But what it revealed is something we should all be paying attention to. Who is really inside the Pentagon? Who has access? Who vetted them? And what are they doing there? If you think those questions matter, share this video. Because the most important oversight doesn't happen in closed rooms. It happens when the public is watching.